Hey everyone, I'm Rich. This is the Razr Plus 2024 and there's a lot of great things about this phone that I want to share with you in today's video. Foldable phones have gotten a lot of popularity over the years, and with the recent release of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, I'm sure you've seen tons of ads on it by now. I want to take a step back and see what Motorolla has up their sleeves. Some of the new key differences you get this year is a new Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 SoC, which works pretty fast for most of today's operation, an IPX water resistant rating, an always on display, and a new 50 megapixel main shooter camera, which I'll go into details a little bit later. And you know, to be honest, folding phones are pretty dope because you just get the little touch of novelty over the regular straight slabs of glass phones that we always see. Flipping out the Razr Plus to answer a phone call or just, you know, moving it around feels kind of cool, kind of nice. It will never not be satisfying, you know? So at $1,000 US, you're getting a super bright 4-inch OLED cover screen that bleeds right over the camera seamlessly, and it looks phenomenal. It seems like we're utilizing the entire back cover here, and it looks super magical to me. Looking at something like the weather app, it's very clean and cool, especially at night. I think it's a whole vibe. It's like I'm gripping a pocket-sized square computer, and I really enjoyed how thin they made the bezels here, which to me was probably the most attractive trait of the Razr Plus. I know Samsung kind of skips around the camera with their Z Flip here, but this is quite the treat. Most importantly, it now offers an always-on display, which gives the last cherry on top. So even at a distance, many of my friends who saw this were like, cool, no way. It definitely makes a statement. It's really unique. One of the other better parts of this display that I know Samsung isn't doing quite yet is being able to run full apps on here natively. Now, this is better, as I know with the Z Flips, you have to download the Good Lock extension app and play around that to add apps in manually, but with the Razr Plus here, you can jump right into any app right away by pressing this icon in the top right corner, and most of them run pretty well too, such as Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. I also really enjoy playing some of their pre-installed games here, like Marble Mayhem, which uses the phone's gyroscope sensors to guide a ball through the maze I got going on, or Stack Bounce, where all you're doing is driving a bouncing ball down on colored tiles while avoiding the black tiles, and it's kind of satisfying, I won't lie to you. Definitely a nice little pastime if you're waiting on the train or something, or in an office lobby. So it's pretty cool, it's really unique. It definitely gives the cover screen a little bit more functionality and just makes it more intuitive after all. But come on now, like, look how beautiful that is. As you open up the phone, you're greeted with an even bigger 6.9-inch Full HD Plus OLED display. P stands for plastic, by the way. There's still a protective cover screen over the display, but now it extends all the way to the edges to make things look a little bit more discreet. So Motorolla heavily stresses not to remove the screen protector, as it won't work properly as it should and will void your warranty. As tempting as I always try to put my fingernail on it, don't do it. This is quite a tall phone and makes for scrolling on social media or the web pretty fun and addicting. I really enjoyed using the phone in landscape mode a lot too. Watching YouTube videos felt wider, and with its larger aspect ratio, I didn't mind the crease at all after using this for some time. I'd say if you're really paid attention to it, yes, you can see it, but it's still pretty cool to have this phone bend in all certain types of ways, and it's just a fun feature to have in general, to have it propped up while consuming media. Motorolla claims the phone can achieve a max peak brightness of 3000 nits, which I think is kind of a heavy statement here. I don't think it gets as bright as something like an S23 Ultra or a 15 Pro Max. But it does look pretty good here, and you do have 165 Hz refresh rate and support for HDR10+. One issue I did have was the phone doesn't have the best anti-reflective coating. I did have to kind of like cover my phone when I was outside and it's super bright and sunny day. It's not the best out there, but I did find myself in those situations. As far as the actual design of the Motorolla Razr Plus, I also saw this to be a very underlooked body and honestly a very stylish take on not just a foldable phone, but a phone in general. I really like how gentle the Razr Plus feels thanks to its glossy aluminum contoured edges, the grippy feel of the soft vegan leather, and all of its striking colors it's available in. This is the Peach Fuzz colorway too, if you're wondering. Not only are the aesthetics eye-catching, but it's still incredibly lightweight at 6.66 ounces with the razor thin profile of 0.27 inches thin when open. And again, that soft vegan leather makes for putting the phone down a little bit softer rather than, say, dropping a whole slab of glass on a table like almost every other phone, as this softens the impact. I never had another phone that felt as comfortable and as soft feeling as this, and it really does stand out from its competition. Again, not just in the foldable phone space, but in all phones in general. And if you're wondering about the actual hinge or the opening mechanism, it's pretty smooth, you know. I wouldn't say as sturdy or as stiff feeling as the Z Flips. Additionally, you do have an IPX water resistant rating, which I would err on the side of caution a little bit. I wouldn't drop it in water, but it should be fine for bringing it into the shower here and there. I just, stay away from something like the beach or, going to a pool party or something, because I don't know how how much I would trust myself with that. And moving on to the cameras here, it's you know, not the best in my opinion. Sure, we have an upgraded 50 megapixel shooter here, but Motorola's picture processing just looks kind of off. For a flagship price phone, most of the photos here were inconsistent and somewhat grainy and a little bit too over contrasted. I noticed there was a lot of emphasis on sharpness, which is fine, but my main complaint was the color. It seemed like they had a hard time accurately bringing out the richness of subjects, and in turn made it look like they added in more saturation and afterwards to counter it. I will say though that with the back cover screen camera, it's actually really cool. Like the fact that you can see yourself on the other side of the camera makes it so that I wouldn't need to use the front selfie camera anymore since I got this now. And a lot of my friends immediately was like, whoa, and we propped it up on a table to take some pictures. So I guess you say we're definitely using the fold phone's camera to its max potential. There's also another feature on here called camcorder mode, which is when you flip it over and bend the screen, which for some odd reason gives you a wider field of view in video and adds a little bit more stabilization when recording. As you can see here, it's kind of weird. It's like we have an ultra wide lens now, and this camera does not have one, by the way. It only has a main shooter and a telephoto, but yeah, you kind of use your thumb here as a controller and it's cool. I just don't know how many of your friends will be making fun of you while you do this all the time. The Razr Plus 2024 is somewhat packing with Qualcomm's new Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chip. This chipset is often classified as a lower cost version of the Snapdragon chips that powers most of today's flagships. Of course, pair this with its 165Hz refresh rate. Everyday actions on the Razr Plus are fluid and responsive. It's just not as buttery smooth or as instantaneous as something like a 15 Pro or an S23 Ultra. But you know, it's more than enough to convince me it's good enough. Especially when switching through the cover display and on the main, opening and exiting on the apps felt pretty good. The UI integrates very nicely. Geekbench 6 scores around 1922 for a single core and 4762 for all the cores combined. And Motorola somehow manages to stuff a slightly larger 4000 mAh battery cell here. And this battery capacity paired with the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chip got me better battery life than expected. By the end of most nights, the battery indicator frequently hovers around the 30% charge mark, which is pretty good for a foldable phone. As a whole though, I was able to reach around 10 hours of 4K video playback on here before the phone died with 75% brightness on. Another feature I appreciate a lot this year is the 45 watt fast charging, and it's really satisfying because I can go from 1% to fully charge in little less than an hour, which is pretty impressive. Now when it comes to the phone as a whole, Moto's Hello UX software running on top of Android 14 looks fresh and modern. Their themes and text overall UI feels very Motorola-like. I'm personally not a huge fan. Maybe I really can't get behind it. I don't know what font they're using here. Google Gemini is built right into the Razr Plus and can even be used via the cover for those quick questions whenever you need to generate something on the spot. It's kind of like a built-in ChatGPT that's always one click away, which is nice. Motorola software support is a bit lax compared to everyone else, with 3 years of major Android updates and 4 years of security. But what do I think of it? I think Motorola definitely tried harder than Samsung when it came to the design. This to me just looks and feels more premium, just more elegant. I really like the soft vegan leather back that they got going on here. The corners are really soft and really nice to handle. It doesn't feel slippery, it just feels really nice. I love that beautiful 4-inch cover screen here that goes across the cameras too. The Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chip is pretty fast. I think we definitely need a chip like that in this phone. The speakers sound good enough for a flip phone at this size. At max volumes, it did start tinning and kind of hurting my ears a little bit, so I had to turn it down a little bit. And unfortunately, the camera, while fun in concept, just isn't a great one executed. Like I said, a lot of the photos turned out a little bit dull, oversaturated sometimes. It's not always bad, it's just not always consistent. In theory, I like the fact that I have an Android flagship phone that isn't coming from Samsung. If you're someone that's going against the grain and want to see something a little bit different when it comes not to just foldable phones, but in all phones in general, I think the Razr Plus might be for you. But for everyone else that wants a flagship phone with better CPU, better camera, and all around just better case selection and ecosystem, I'd stick to something like an iPhone and a Samsung. Anyways, that's my review of the Motorola Razr Plus 2024. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Are you gonna pick it up? Are you looking about buying this? What do you think of this? Do you have anything you disagree with or agree with me on? Leave them down in the comments below. I want to hear what you're thinking. Also, what do you think about this crossbody case? I'm gonna put it on right now. Actually, it's kind of neat. I don't know if I'd be wearing this around too much. I feel like I got like a little satchel going on. Hey, what's up? Or like a man purse. See that, guys? I got a phone now. What's up? I don't know how practical this would be, because like if I had to stick this into my pocket, it's like a lot to go in. And it's cool, it's a unique take for sure. Anyways, that's all I got for today's video, guys. If you liked it, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.